following content is mature rated only. If you are under the age of 18 or are offended easily, please just press the pause button right now. I will now give you 5 seconds to press the pause button. Thank you. You have now indicated that you have, oh, fuck it. All right, we're going to be interviewing longtime KSI member, admin on the forums, and overall pretty badass guy, KSI Spider 7. So, do you have anything to say, Corey?
You're going to have me in tears by the end of this.
All right, Corey, so how long exactly have you been in KSI?
On January 6, 2011, I was in KSI now for 5 years straight and running.
Great, and that's awesome. You're probably one of the longest, if not the longest running member who's never taken a break, never left, anything like that. So, I mean, the first question I'm going to ask you is obviously how things have changed over the years. You know, obviously you joined back in what, 2005, 2006?
2006.
I mean, how have the changes, I mean, there's been a lot of them, obviously. How do you think the changes have been in KSI?
I think like a week in KSI is like a year in our lives. So, I've seen KSI go from, you know, small little numbers to the biggest numbers you can imagine, back down to, you know, small numbers and anywhere in between. I've seen leadership changes. I've seen, wow. It's hard to recall so much of it.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
that's just starting in clan ops. That's not even from whenever I moved into, you know, doing clan ops and administration on websites, and then moving more into websites and then to the forums. The forums alone have had so many changes, you know, by themselves.
Right. So I know there's probably so many, but if you could, and, you know, just in the last 5 years, just highlight maybe one or two of your best memories or your favorite moments in KSI?
Oh, man.
That's a tough one, I know.
I would say number one has to go to those 3 a.m. Everybody's pretty much out of their mind, sitting in a pregame lobby, saying whatever comes to their mind first. That's probably number one. Number two, I don't know. It's number two's got to be between that week-long trip to, you know, ours truly Mike Sanders' place, or my trip to Chicago for MLG Chicago. I think I'm going to hand that one to Chicago because that was pretty insane.
Corey,
And
go ahead and tell us about you getting stuck between the bed and the furnace. Do you want to just tell us about that?
It wasn't a furnace, I'll put it that way.
Oh, so you were stuck between your ass crack and Big BT's cock.
No, not quite. Not at all. It did not happen that way at all.
So how did this
the problem is when you have a guy like BT laying in a bed next to you, and he's taking up 75% of the bed, and you're like laying on the edge of the bed trying not to touch the motherfucker, debating whether you should just get up and just go try and sleep on the floor, which is pretty uncomfortable. I don't know if you've ever been to a Super 8 motel, but their floors are not comfortable. Trust me, I know.
Okay. So
apparently, at some point during the night, I did punch him in the eye.
He got a little bit frisky there, wasn't he?
Yeah, apparently we got rough.
There you go. You heard it, KSI. Big BT getting frisky. KSI Spider punched him in the eye. Both of them sleeping in the same bed for an inexplicable reason.
Well, don't worry, because Dallas and Ghost were in the other bed.
I bet they were quiet the whole night, weren't they?
No, Ghost never shut the fuck up with his snoring, and Dallas, well, let's see, they were laying, you know, kind of head, like, one's head was down by the other's toes, so you move them a little bit, and they might have had a really good time. I don't know what they did that night, but the only guy that had a really good time with it was In Your Eye, because he got to sleep on the floor by himself.
In in your eye. What an appropriate name for that night. Uh, so do you want to tell us about the guy who got drugged and woke up naked in a hotel room?
I'm pretty sure that one never happened. I don't remember that, and I was sober the whole time, so.
Okay, maybe that was another time.
Yeah, that was a different MLG event that I did not attend.
All right, my bad. Never mind. You're definitely not the one who told me about that. Moving on. So there's been a lot of good times in KSI history for you, and a lot of good times. I mean, I guess the biggest question is KSI is just that knowledge, strength, and integrity. We help people not only in their online experiences, but on their personal experiences. I mean, over the years, how have you balanced being a leader in KSI and then also your personal life, and how do you feel that, if at all, that has helped you grow as a person?
There's a lot of situations I've been put in KSI that I probably wouldn't have been put in if I were not in KSI through those years. It is literally leading, like when somebody says, oh, you're just a leader of a gaming community, but realistically, when you're running a division that has like 2,000 people in it, you're the guy everybody looks up to, that everybody wants to know what you think should be done next. You're literally leading 2,000 people. Granted, you may only talk to 50 of them, different captains, sergeants, and your generals and whatnot, but it's a pretty tough thing to do, especially with that many people. It also, you couldn't even begin to explain the stress of trying to be one of the upper leaders of KSI. It's pretty stressful, and you do have to hold yourself together at the absolute worst moments where you just really don't want to. You just want to say, fuck it, I'm done. But, you gotta persist and you gotta stick with it. So I'm pretty sure some of that has helped in the long run for my life so far.
Right. And as far as balancing personal life with KSI, I mean, you're in a band, Corey. What's that band's name again?
Barbarossa Accolade.
And where would you find them on the internet?
You would find this at myspace.com/Barbarossa Accolade. That would be
and your side project?
Well, let me explain the link to that, because I know none of y'all are going to remember this. Barbarossa Accolade for a MySpace is spelled BARBAROSSAACCOLADE. And my solo project would be on my MySpace as well at myspace.com/Corey Diller, COREYDILLER.
Great. And, I mean, just your band's influence in KSI, even the small amount that it might have, I know quite a few people have liked it. I haven't heard anything negative about it. We've kind of seen your band grow over the years, and you guys have changed members quite a few times. You've had your ups, you've had your downs. You've always been talking about it on here. You shook some wrestler's hand, and you sounded like you jizzed in your pants over it, and we never heard you shut up about that after it happened. But, I mean, overall, it's been a great run, man.
Tommy Dreamer's a pretty popular guy.
Here we go again. But, in all seriousness, Corey, I want to be the first one to thank you just for your time, your dedication, your efforts. This man right here is actually the most influential person over myself as far as the gaming world goes. I remember, we both came from the same division, Firestorm. We've both led it, 2,000-plus members. We have a lot in common, and I have actually grown a personal friendship with Corey outside of the gaming community. And as he said, he spent a week up here with himself and Caleb, and we've become great friends. And that's just one of the many things about this gaming community that I love, is that there's friendships that I don't think will ever end, because you're spending so much time online. And I think you'll find when you're in a gaming community like this, you'll talk about so much as opposed to what you probably wouldn't even talk about with your personal friends because you're just talking. You can't toss the football, and after a while you get tired of pressing the trigger. So you'll bullshit and say the first thing that comes to your mind. So, I mean, it's a great experience to have.
For example,
Corey?
Mike, I think you should really leave that shop back alone. You've done tortured it enough.
I can neither confirm or deny anything about the shop back, Corey, because there's a pending lawsuit, sexual harassment, and rape, and all kinds of other things. So I just have to let that one slide. Can we edit this out, Jen? Thanks, buddy. But, you know, okay, I do have to add one thing. If Caleb's watching, can we talk about the night helmet and the Fruity Pebbles? And we got to talk about Pacific Sun.
Yes, Pac Sun.
Apparently,
a little story
to
to sum this all up. This is the joy of meeting somebody on Xbox Live that you don't know anything about. Mike, Caleb, and I are walking through the mall in Ohio. We're already like an hour away from where home was because we got lost trying to get there. We see Pac's son, and Caleb, I don't know what got into him, but all of a sudden he gets this real girly voice and he goes, "Oh my God, it's Pac's son!" Freaks out and runs into the store. Mike and I just stopped for a second, and we looked at each other and we went, "What the fuck?" And then when we get in there, Mike is freaking out because there's a guy in there hand-folding boxers, and Caleb is just like in heaven, and I'm like, holy shit. The next thing that happens, I realized we are now walking into a store called Spencer's, and we got halfway in, and Caleb and I walked out because Mike's like, "You got to see the good stuff in the back." Dude.
Man, I was just looking for some recreational tech dip too. I was looking for some shit to do when we got home.
Yeah, right.
Oh. All right. Well, we're about out of time. Good. Yeah, we're about out of time here.
All right. Go ahead.
We're about out of time here, so I'm going to wrap it up and turn the floor over to Corey. Again, thank you so much for your hard work, your dedication, your influence over KSI. You're definitely, as far as KSI goes, you're my hero, sir. Now it's time to tear up and say goodbye. It's yours.
All right, folks, goodbye. Hope you learned something, and Mike, stay away from sex and the shitty.